What's the deal? It's Randall. I'm back at Mod FX. Got my 2020 wide body Hellcat in the back. Got another mod plan for it. Today, I'm gonna be installing some LED interior bulbs in the roof of the car. You know, all these cars come with the yellowish lighting in the roof, and I wanna change that look, put that cool white, give it that nice modern look, and we're gonna change the interior up a bit, so let's get to it. And so here we have the interior of the Hellcat. Right now I have a work light in here, but if I switch the lights on, you see it has a yellowish hue, and it doesn't look good at all. So the whole car kind of has the same tint. You got the fronts, you got the backs also. You know, that's one of the first things I'm gonna be changing out in the interior. I'm gonna get these up out of there real quick. I'm gonna show you my process for doing so. We'll see what kind of results I get, so let's get to it. So the tools you need are simple. All I'm gonna use for the front is gonna be a trim tool. And I have a pick. These picks are pretty cheap. You can find them like your Harbor Freight or your local tool store. It costs a couple of bucks. They come in a set, but they have a lot of uses that you'll find out once you get you a set as well. And so, also the trim tool is pretty much the same. They come in a set of four or five or so, and all of them have different shapes. But I'm gonna show you how I use these to get in there and get these bulbs out. And so one thing to keep in mind, when you're switching your LED bulbs out, you want to always cut the bulbs off. What's going to happen is if you leave your bulbs on for like 10 minutes while you're trying to get in there, and you finally get in there, when that bulb drops down, it's going to be real hot and burn your fingers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll the wheel down. What that's going to do is cut off all my interior lighting. You know, by the time they're cool off, we'll be able to get in there and get them out real quickly without burning ourselves. And so all I'm going to do is stick my trim tool in the side. And I'm going to try and do this with one hand and see how it works. I'm not using a lot of pressure because I don't want to damage the interior. But there's going to be a tab in the back right here. And you want to bend that tab in order to get in there. So I'm going to push in. And we got that one out. As you can see, we look in there. There's going to be our bulb. The rear bulb is the one we're changing out, which is right here. This is actually built into the car, and it's a little bit more extensive modification. This is your map light to change out, and so I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'm gonna leave this one alone, but I'm gonna be getting this one out. There's different ways to do it. In the past, we've done it with shrink wrap, where you put the shrink wrap around the bulb, and you let the bulb shrink around the bulb once you cut it on, and you just tug the shrink wrap and it comes down. But I found this pick method to be quick, easy, and like I said, you can get in and out pretty quickly without having to spend too much time on the modification. There we go. So as you can see, I got the first bulb out. It is a glass bulb. It is not hot, and so I can handle the bulb and let it fall down without melting anything. And so I'm going to progress to number 2. So once again, I'm going to try and do this with one hand, which makes it a little bit harder, but I'm going to go in the side. I'm going to apply some pressure, and you'll hear weird noises, but it's not necessarily anything breaking. It's more so the plastic is being you know, it's going to be bent in order to get this out. And so as long as you don't push too hard, you'll be okay. And so this one came out a little bit easier. I can pull these all the way out if I need to, but I'm pretty familiar with this modification, so I don't have to worry about doing that right now. What I'm gonna do is find my pick again, and we're gonna get in there. Once again, you have to try and get on the side of the bulb. So I kind of have a feel for it. So I'm almost doing it blind. So what I did with the bulb, when it was in there, it kind of sits in the bulb holder. And so I'm catching it right here at the corner. I'm going in and I'm pushing it down. So as I pull the pick down, it pulls the bulb down and it comes out of that socket. And so in the socket, it is only one way that your LED is gonna work. So before you just shove your new LED bulb inside, you want to make sure you actually cut your wheel back up, because no matter which way you put it, if you don't have your lights on, that is going to light up and you're going to be wondering what's going on. And so there's only one way that you can put these in where they'll work. And so as you can see, this one I got lucky, it fired right up. And so I'm going to see if I can go 2 for 2 on the other side and do the same thing. So once again, I kind of have the feel for it, so I'm trying to do it with one hand, but it looks like I'm gonna go 2 for 2. Yep. So I'm 2 for 2. So both of them are installed and lit up. I do have a higher power version of these bulbs, and so they are fairly bright. Hopefully not too bright. But now you just have to work. Have to kind of work the work your lens back in, and then you go back up with it. And so it looks like I'm gonna have to readjust this one. So now I'm going to go in with this one. Once again, I'm going to put the tab back in first. Make sure it's flat. And you want to make sure it goes off and on. So one thing I like to do is when I have these lights on, I open and close the door to make sure I have them set to where they're not already pressed on. And so right now you can see both of them are on. So now I'm going to do a quick test of the interior LED bulbs. When I push the button, they both come on, and so I did set them right. I don't have anything pinched. If I roll my wheel all the way up, you can see the amber in comparison for the map lights, and those are real dim. They really don't do anything for the car. You really can't see them if you're not sitting right up on them like I am, but you know, they are still there. But yeah, so I'm gonna cut them back off. You know, I can open my door, they're gonna light the whole car up. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and do the back, and let's see what it looks like when everything gets completed. Alright, so now I'm in the back seat. As you can see, you have your handle here. You have where you hang your clothes at. You're hanging up stuff in the back seat. And so what I'm gonna do is remove this handle in order to get to where the LED bulb is, so I can go ahead and change this out. So what I do in this case, I'm gonna actually pull the handle down, and there's gonna be 2 tabs that you're gonna pull off. So sometimes you can do it with your nail, or you may have to use a trim tool, but I stay away from using flatheads because I don't want to scratch the plastic. But what I'm doing is I'm going to be pulling this off, and it's going to allow me access to where the screws are, or where the bolts are that hold the handle in. And so now the hardware is exposed. It's going to be a Torx bit, and so I'm going to get the right bit for here. We'll be good to go, and the whole assembly is going to come out. Now that I have my bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in here, get the bit in, and I'm simply going to use my little drill and get the screw out. And so these screws actually kind of stay in. So I'm just going to loosen them enough to get the handle to come out. And so now that the handle is out, I'm in there. So now that the handle is out, I'm in there. And so what I'm going to need to do is, if you rotate it over, there's going to be 2 tabs that you need to pull off. And that's going to make your light assembly come out. And so now I have my light assembly bare, and I'm one step closer to actually getting inside and getting the LED out. And so I'm going to pop this with my thumb. You know, I kind of have the feel for it, and so I literally just popped it that quick. And like I was saying with the front, if you try and do this with your hands, it does get hot. And so Yeah, it's hot. And so it is hot. So what I'm gonna do is use the same trim tool I use for the front. So there's two pieces of metal right here, and I'm gonna put it in the middle at the top of the bulb, and I'm gonna push down. The reason why I'm not gonna use a metal pick is because it will spark if you touch each side of the socket for this light. Just burnt myself. So I just got it out, and now you can get a better look at the socket. And so you have two metal contact points. And this is your clicker, and that makes the light cut off and on. And then you have your place where the bulb goes. And so all I'm gonna do is put the bulbs back in. Like you say, let me see if I can go 3 for 4 and get it right this time. But basically you tap into the light, and either it's gonna work or it's not. And so in this case, looks like it's not working. I guess I had it right the first time, but I'm gonna stick it in. So now that we have it in, as you can see, it is way brighter than the factory bulb, and so I'm just gonna reverse the process. I'm gonna stick that lens back in. One thing that I make note of, I'm careful to not touch the inside of this lens because you don't want any fingerprints. And then I'm gonna load in my grab handle the same way. Make sure I line the big tabs up with the big side. And then you're good to go. And so put it back in, put your 2 screws back in, and you'll be in there. So now I have my handle back in. I have each of the screws seated in here so that the handle won't fall off. And all I'm gonna do is continue to tighten them up with my driver, and then I'm gonna be good to go. Just making sure I'm going in the right direction. I'm gonna just test it to make sure I'm in there. Yep, and so we're good to go. And so at this point, all I have to do is put the caps on. It doesn't matter which side you put your cap on, as long as you get it on there. So I'm gonna put this cap on, and I'm gonna be good to go. And so once I complete the 4th one, that'll complete the car. But as you can see, even with just 3 LEDs in, you have the front of the car, you have the side, and I'm gonna cut my additional light out. And so right now, all the lights you have in the car is from only 3 LEDs, and you're gonna have 1 regular bulb on the side. So you see the regular bulb, and you see the LED, which kind of messes with the camera. So as you can see, this upgrade is a really nice makeover for the interior of the car, and is fairly cheap. I mean, I just spent a lot of money on these bulbs. You know, you can get name brand bulbs. In this case, I went with some generic LED bulbs, and you know, as you can see, they look pretty fine. And so if I get a little use out of them, I'm cool. They last for a long time, I'm cool. But either way, you know, I'm happy with the results. And so once again, these are going to be interior LED bulbs installed in a 2020 wide body Charger, and we're good to go.